don't you worry, this is not going to be a driving video. I'm not driving and talking. I know people get freaked out by that. I'm just sitting in the car waiting for my kids to get ready. So it's going to be a while. In the meantime, let's talk about this. On LinkedIn, I've been seeing this post a number of times, which says your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. And I see a lot of people going, yes, that's true, that's exactly right, spot on, they're liking, sharing, all that stuff. But I was wondering if that's actually true. I know people do share it and they try to relate to it. And they probably feel like there is something in them that's maybe undiscovered, untapped, some kind of talent that they have that they're not able to share with others, or maybe they're not being recognized for it. And that's the reason why they're able to relate to that post and agree with it. But I've been thinking is how do you define value or worth, right? So what's a value? And what I've been thinking is like for a person, there are two ways we can describe a value. One is through salary. Wait, I'll explain. Through salary. So if somebody is valued in the company, they would most likely get higher salary. So that's a way of showing that the person is valued. Now, how do we look at somebody who's a volunteer, right? Let's say somebody does work for free. How do you describe their value? And the way I'm thinking of it is how much do they help others? How much of that talent they use to help somebody else? And let's do a crazy analogy here, but it's how my brain works. So let's think of a piece of software, right? What's a piece of software? What's the value of a piece of software? Well, it's how much people are willing to pay for it. Maybe more if in case it's underpriced, right? So if it costs $1,000 and people are willing to pay $1,000, well, that's the value of the software, right? So that's our first analogy, how much you're getting paid for it. Just like a person, what's the salary? And in the same way, if the software is free, if the software is open sourced, well, how much is that software being used to help others? So if we use that criteria, if we look at it that way, then a person whose talents aren't recognized and aren't appreciated, well, they're probably not going to get the salary they deserve, right? We have plenty of people who are great at something, but they can't get a job, so they wind up doing a different work. Let's say somebody's great at programming, but no one is willing to hire them because they can't pass the interview, so he is working at a restaurant, right? So he's a waiter. And clearly his value, he's not being compensated, he's not being valued as a programmer, so his salary is much lower. And in the same way we can think of the second point is, well, since the person is a waiter, he doesn't get a chance to do practice programming and help people out, even if he were to do it for free, right? His time is spent on working at the restaurant. Yes, of course, he could be doing things in the evenings and stuff like that, but just in general, right? So, and then, well, let's same approach with the software, right? I have a piece of software on my website that I wrote, which I think is a genius piece of software. I think it's greatest thing ever. But I haven't sold a single copy of it. So what's the problem? Well, people don't recognize it for its value. They don't recognize it what it's worth. I think it's the greatest thing ever, but no one else does. I mean, maybe the price is too high or something like that, but generally speaking, no one agrees with my assessment. I think it's the greatest thing ever, and everyone just goes, it's okay. I don't even need it. I barely even want it for free, right? So then, what's the value of the software? Well, it's like nothing. It's no one's paying for it, which is our first criteria, and our second criteria it's not helping anybody out. So the software isn't helpful. So what's the value of the software that I think is great, but no one's buying or using? Well, pretty low, right? So that brings me to kind of a point that if you're not recognized for your talents and you're not exercising your ability to help others, then yeah, your value does decrease. So I'll tell you a quick story. I used to work with this person back in the days of microfilming. And if you ever heard of microfilming, is you take a piece of paper, you put it on the table, you press a button, and the camera above takes a picture of that piece of paper. You flip it over, press next, flip next, flip. And so you take pictures of documents. It's what was before scanning and as well as alongside scanning. And at some point, I wound up talking to this person, and turned out to be that he was programmer of all the people, right? So he knew how to program, and he was suggested to me like, hey, maybe he could be a good tech person. He can make some load files and such. And so after we talked, decided to try him out, working with me, working with other people. And as it turned out at the end, he was amazing programmer, just like not even close to me, just way past my level, years back too. So there is an example, right? The person was unrecognized for his skills, and he wasn't compensated for them. He was being paid rate of a microfilm person. But what was his value, right? He was just sitting there. He wasn't practicing his programming. He wasn't compensated for it. So what can you say about that? So that's kind of my thinking process. I don't want to draw any like hard conclusions, but my thinking directs me to saying that yes, your value does decrease if you're unable to sell your skills or utilize them to help somebody or do something good with them. If you just sitting on your skills, not utilizing, not compensated, then you're valued less. Please let me know how you would define value. Agree, disagree with me. Let me know what you think. I know again it's a people jump on these posts and it's like, yeah, because they're able to relate to it. But it seems like if you do a little bit of thinking, it may not be so. Anyway, just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Bye. There are cats right outside sleeping peacefully in the sun. Let's get a quick shot of the cats, just for the thumbnail. All right, perfect thumbnail right there.